The last thing that we need to talk about is factors of production. What are factors of production? Well, factors of production are all the things used to produce goods or services. All the things that you would need if you were a business owner to make a good. And factors of production, there's usually three categories of factors of production. Everything that you use in your business to produce a product can be broken down into one of these categories. The first factor of production is land. And land is any natural resource used to produce goods and services. If you can go out and get it in nature and then use it to make your product, that's going to be land. So examples of land would be trees, sunlight, water. Okay, that would be land. Natural resources found in the ground, iron ore, things like that. That's land. Also, the land itself, the actual land, would be considered a natural resource as well. Your second factor of production is labor. Labor is any action that a person performs that he or she gets paid for. So it's the people that work for you, the people that do jobs for you. Workers, waitresses, teachers, anybody that shows up at work and does something, that's going to be your labor. And then finally, this is what most factors of production fall under, and that would be capital. Capital is any man-made resource used to make goods and services. So computers, office furniture, pencils, cars, trucks, anything like that is going to be capital. Anything that is man-made would be capital. Now, there are also two types of capital. Capital can be broken down into two things. You have physical capital and human capital. Now, physical capital refers to things that you use in your business. Anything that you use that's physical in your business that's man-made would be physical capital. And then human capital, it's a little trickier. Human capital would be the skills and the knowledge that a worker has. And the reason that would be capital and not labor is because it's man-made. Okay, if you just look at a worker, their body in your plant, when they come to work in and out every day, that's labor. But the knowledge they have in their head, the skills that they obtained by going to school or learning a craft, that's going to be human capital. A doctor's knowledge of medicine would be an example of human capital. Try not to get labor and human capital mixed up. Labor is going to be the person's body and whatever they do, but human capital is the skills and the knowledge, the stuff they have in their head that they probably had to go to school to learn or they had to learn from somebody else. That's going to be human capital. One other thing I want to mention that students often get confused about is if they're looking at an item and they're trying to decide whether it's land or capital, if it started out as land but ends up as capital, how should they label it? Would it be land or capital? I'll give you an example. Let's say that you use paper in your business. Now, paper, a lot of students would say, well, paper started out as trees, and trees would be land, so paper is going to be land. But you have to look at what the item itself, paper. Can you go out in a field and pick a pack of paper? Do they have paper fields out there? No, they don't. You have to go out and get the trees, send the trees to a, lumber mill and then a paper mill and all that stuff. So, yes, the trees would be land, but if man has to take that natural resource and change it or transform it, then it's going to be capital. So, trees would be land, but paper would be capital. If you get confused in a situation like this, the question to ask yourself would be, can I go out into nature and find this? Can I go out in a field and pick it? Can I go in the woods and find it? Can I dig it up from the earth? If you can't do something like that with this object or whatever it is that this factor of production that you're using, then it's probably going to be capital.